Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. I stated many times that in wars all sides commit crimes, and that is because we are human. I'm not justifying that, I'm just giving you the reason why. And humans under pressure and certain kind of circumstance act generally in the same way. So when we're satisfied, we tend to have a certain kind of psychology. When we are dissatisfied, we tend to have a different kind of psychology and employ it in our behavior. Now, in a war, the circumstances, we say they dehumanize us. No, I think they show who we are. Because what we are, humans, is that. What we are here, this is a artificial representation of what we can be. Because we voluntarily follow certain conventions and rules that we set in place. If we would not have mommy and daddy to tell us what to do and how to behave, we would be like, most likely, animals. A little bit smarter, obviously, but we'll behave as that. If we would not have certain kind of ideals to teach us and values, teach us to share with others or to have this and that and help, and you would probably do that unless you will do it only when your immediate interest kicks in. So our reality is war or extreme situations when you strip away all your education, self-education, self-training that you acquired during your life. During this war in Ukraine, we heard, and I'm pretty sure a lot of them were not necessarily exaggerated, but a lot of them occurred, crimes reported by the Ukrainians and blamed on the Russians. And somehow it was quiet that the other ones would not do what they are blamed to do and accused. So that means only the Russians commit war crimes, the Ukrainians would not commit war crimes. I do not believe such an assessment because that's childish. You can't make this kind of claims unless you're either a child, which doesn't know what the hell is going on, or you are an asshole, which you know, like all of us, but you choose to use it for reaching a certain kind of goal that you have in mind. So now we have a Russian article where the Russians claim that the Ukrainians committed war crimes. And I'm pretty sure this will be totally ignored by the Western media, or will be will be interpreted as any article coming with this kind of allegation should be. But they do it when the Russians say it, but when the Ukrainians say it, they just take it as at face value. So that tells you that the corporate media, that is the free mass media, has sides. That means cannot be trusted, because if they pick sides in this one, we don't, and we figure out, obviously, sometimes there are situations when we don't figure out what the hell is going on. We don't have time. And when we listen to whatever an anchor tells us or a media person tells us, we don't know. We can't tell if that's true or a lie. But we see here that these guys are these guys. The corporate mass media, the free mass media of the Western countries, obviously they have their little guys here. So we'll find out if they will report what the Russians just reported about 10 minutes ago, 18 minutes ago. So this article comes from Sputnik, Russian media outlet, propaganda, however you want to call it. But I get the information, you can verify it, and obviously they exaggerate like everybody else, but it's something that you can look into, like you look into the massacre at Bucha and other massacres that are already decided that it was the Russians. There's no way around it. No investigation, no international observers, nothing. Just, and if they were, I'm pretty sure they were not Russians, and I'm pretty sure they were not Chinese, they were not Indian, they're not countries outside of the interest of the little clique, which doesn't count. You know what I mean? I'm gonna try you and get you to court, and everybody around will be my family. Do you think we're gonna find something that we don't say we're gonna find? Yeah, we're gonna find exactly what we say we're gonna find, and you're gonna be guilty, and vice versa. So over 10 Russian servicemen shot, killed in cold blood by Ukrainian forces, Russian Ministry of Defense. Now, I'm not saying this to celebrate that these guys are, oh my god, see, they found the other ones. No, it's just to express that things happen on both sides. And pay attention and let me know how the Western mass media will take this. We say, yeah, the Ukrainians committed war crime, the Hague, this and that, tribunal, International Criminal Court should take over. And yes, Zelensky is guilty because, like they say about Putin, Putin is a war criminal because this and this and that. Will they use the same values? No, no. So that tells you, should I trust you? No, definitely. So, or at least you know how the wind blows, right? So earlier in the day, grisly footage posted to social media from Makivka, a settlement in the Lugansk People's Republic taken by Ukrainian forces this week, appeared to show that a dozen captured and unarmed Russian servicemen had been executed by their captors. It's true that here we don't know the context. You say, wow, how can you say that, Emil? Well, let's say if those Russians were, I don't know, dressed in Ukrainian military clothes, then I think that the Americans showed it at in Ardennes, right? At the Battle of the Bulge. They caught the Germans dressed, palm on the spot. So if that was right, this is right. You know what I mean? You can't, if you are an enemy and you dress in the enemy's clothes and try to infiltrate that, if they catch you, I don't think you get court-martialed. I think you get shot on the spot. I think that's the way it goes. Well, I'm 99.9% certain that that's the, you're not nothing, you're just taken care of. If you want, I think that I can do that. So, that's the first one. The second one, I don't know if those were Ukrainians. I don't know if those were mercenaries. They were Ukrainian military. They say here, you see, Russian servicemen. So they say it was the Russians dressed in Russian military. Even if they were mercenaries, you don't kill them. You take them into custody and then you do something else with them. But you don't kill them if they're mercenaries. And then it says here that Ukrainian forces. So that must be the guys in Ukrainian gear or military gear, right? Uniforms. Russia's defense, I don't know. I'm just trying to look at it in from certain angles. Russia's, or maybe this is just fake, but those guys were dead, right? So I don't know how fake that could be. Russia's defense ministry confirmed Friday that more than 10 Russian troops have been executed in cold blood by degenerates from the Ukrainian armed forces. And I'm quoting, Volodymyr Zelensky and his henchmen will have to answer before the court of history, the peoples of Russia and Ukraine, for every tortured and executed prisoner of war, the Minister of Defense said on a briefing on Friday. And I'm quoting, the intentional and methodical murder of more than 10 immobilized Russian servicemen by degenerates from the Ukrainian armed forces by gunshots to the head cannot be presented as a tragic exception against the background of the supposed general observance of the rights of prisoners of war by the Kiev regime, end quote, the military added. The Ministry of Defense stressed that the brutal murder of Russian POWs is not the first and only such war crime, but common practice among the Ukrainian armed forces, actively supported by the Kiev regime and not noticed point blank by its Western patrons. End quote. I can dispute these things. I dispute that there are some... I'm always for investigations, let's put it this way. An investigation should be conducted in an open, fair, with observers. Why? Because they can, not necessarily to be involved in it, like, hey, I'm part of it. Not necessarily, but to have 100% access to whatever happens over there. To your data, to your evidence, to your, however you put together the information and so on that you receive, the evidence. One video showed Russian troops exiting a bombed house one by one with their hands up and laying down on the ground. One of their commanders refused to surrender, opening fire on the Ukrainians with an automatic rifle, after which the video cut out. A second video shot by a drone showed 12 lifeless, unarmed Russian troops laying on the ground. Both videos are believed to have been filmed in the same location, and it was suspected that the surrendered troops may have been killed as punishment for the comrade who refused to give up. Valley Fadlyev, chairman of the Russian Human Rights Council, promised to send the video materials to international organizations and demand an investigation into the suspected war crime. See how nice they put it? Suspected. So it's very different from what the other guys are coming and immediately say, that guy is a war criminal, that guy. They came and said, well, the Ukrainian, didn't they say degenerates and all that? Well, okay, but still, they try to do the right thing, not to do their little investigation here and just stay out, I'm going to investigate it. I mean, you can do that, but you don't have as much credibility then. If you know, if you're certain, I mean, let's say you're not honest, but if you're certain that the outcome of the investigation will, prove what you claim, then yeah, you invite everyone. Hey, come on and see, because you already know by the evidence that you already have in the first day, most likely. But if you're uncertain and you're dishonest, then keep everybody out, figure out how things are, maybe do a little bit here, push that a little bit, roll it over here, give them a little gun here and so on, and then you invite everybody else. Or maybe you don't invite them at all and you do whatever you want, and you come out and say, this is my conclusion, this is what I determined during my investigation. And they say, hey, we don't believe you. Well, you do, because my Western friends will believe whatever I tell them. So we'll see. We'll see what's going on here. Again, this is a claim, must be investigated, and it should be. We'll find out. I'm pretty sure this is the last and the only time we're going to hear about this. You will never hear about it again, especially on your mass media. I'm 99.9999999 error certain that you will not hear about this again. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.